The Tale of Relm. This is a story set in the world of Relm, a world consisting of 3 continents: Franga, Lore, and Janat. Franga. The smallest of the 3 nations, Franga is a land cloaked in snow and silence, where winter reigns nearly year-round. Its capital, Valis, rises like a shard of frost amid the icy expanse, a center of power, mystery, and magic. Though its population is diverse, true control lies with the High Magicians, an elite order who claim direct descent from the ancient race, their authority rooted as much in myth as in might. At the pinnacle of their rule stands Zadrum, enigmatic and feared, the undisputed ruler of Franga. A land shared by elves, humans, and goblins, Luar is a realm of uneasy harmony and ancient magic. At its heart lies the vast, rich Jenner Forest, the largest woodland in all of Relm, often called the lungs of the world for its life-giving breath and deep, mystical roots. The capital city, Silta, stands as a beacon of grace and power, ruled by the elven king Nuworth and the elven queen Alindra, whose lineages trace back to the first age of the forests. Janat. Divided by the towering mountains of Algas, Janat is a land of contrast and resilience. To the north, sprawling plains and highlands are home primarily to humans, while the rugged southern reaches, carved into stone and shadow, are the domain of the dwarves. At the center of this divided kingdom stands the capital, Lurin, currently ruled by King Gabarin. Chapter 1. The Crudo. The year 1018. Sarkos. For more than 2 centuries, the great kingdoms of Janat and Luar have been at war, with Janat suffering loss after loss, each an even greater tactical humiliation than the last. Janat was dealt its most devastating blow during the Grand Battle of the Scorched Mountains, rendering half the land a ravaged waste. Defeat could be suffered no longer. Whispers among the king's court of one last stratagem, one last push to turn the tide, one desperate ploy to clasp victory from the jaws of defeat. The Crudo program. Elite warriors who were to be trained to the bone, rid of all emotions that could rust their newfound deadly edge. They were to become the unit that would win the war. Eight years ago, one small group of children joined the Crudo project. Tonight, this batch of recruits will have their final test. A test that, invariably, leads to some early ends. Thus is the cruel way of Crudo. A final trial, a fight to the death. 8 relentless years of training had led to this. Bodies sprawled lifeless on the sands, another cohort wiped out without ceremony or honor. All but one. The one with red eyes still stood, his end inevitable at the hands of Atma the giant. The air was thick with the weight of what was to come.